and welcome. You have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Srishti Sharma and with me is Kavita. And viewers, this is the show where you get answers for all your stock-related queries. In a short while from now, we will connect with our experts to get your stock queries answered. But before that, a quick look what the markets are up to, because it's been a good day for the markets indeed. The first trading day of the week and definitely a great start for the markets. Nifty 50 is almost up 140 odd points. I beg your pardon, 180 points of gain is what we are getting to see. While on the banking index as well, a stellar run up, almost 439 points of an uptick is what we are getting to see. In terms of the movers and shakers, it's the large caps and the heavyweights rather. Case in point being Reliance Industries, HDFC Bank, they are seen to be coming at the forefront and lending support. But nevertheless, it's SBI Life that has maintained its top gaining position since the start of the day, definitely on a back of great set of numbers. On the flip side, what's not doing well is Adani Ports, BEL, Bajaj Finance, Kotak Mahindra Bank. Some of these counters are definitely in the red, but in any of the Nifty 50 stocks, you will not get to see that the fall is over 1%. So clearly, the breadth of the market is definitely holding strong. We are not seeing an intensified selling pressure on the benchmark indices, neither from the large cap space and nor from the broader markets. And all in all, seems like a good day. India Wix, though, is something that you should be watching out for, because yes, on one hand, the index is doing very well, but India Wix has also seen a surge of almost 9% as we speak today. So some bit of a volatility, and heightened volatility is what India Wix is indicating at this point in time. But Kavita, seems like a great start for the trading session, and a lot of these stocks are making great moves.
Absolutely, and even the market breadth, though it looks like very volatile, but the advances are on the heavier side. You know, we can see 1536 advances and 1248 declines. But then let's move on and let's begin the show. And we have a very interesting discussion coming up now. We will talk about the launch of MCX Bullex option, its implications for bullions, investors and hedgers. To know more on this, we are joined by Rishi Nathani, Chief Business Officer, MCX. Rishi, hi, morning and welcome to the show. So first come first, let's just understand, what makes MCX Bullex options different from trading gold or silver futures individually. If you could just give a sense of this first.
Sure. Thanks, Kavita. Let me just deconstruct the indices for you. Sure. So right now we have in MCX on futures, we have 5 bullion gold contracts, 1 gram, 8 grams, 10 grams, 100 and 1 kg. On silver, we have 1 kg, 5 kg and 30 kgs. Whereas in options, we have on some of these contracts. Now, this index, which we have created, the Bullex, is an index based on the 1 kg gold contract and the 30 kg silver contract. Today, if you want to trade the 30 kg silver contract and a 1 kg gold contract, the exposure would be more than 1.5 crores. At the same time, you're getting the same index, you're getting both gold and silver within one index, and you're able to, the notional value of that index is roughly 8.5-9 lakh rupees. So it makes a very affordable entry point for someone who wants to invest in bullion, both gold and silver together. And it is ideal for people who want to take a measured exposure to this at lower risk by buying these options, because the premiums, because of the lower notional, the premiums would also be lower.
All right, great to know that. But Rishi, help us understand how will this Bullex index options definitely help build the liquidity and the price discovery in the bullion market. What's the sense here?
Thanks, Rishi. So the price discovery in the bullion market is already there. MCX has been a leader in price discovery in both gold and silver. So the entire industry functions around and benchmarks its trades to the MCX price. And since these underlying contracts which form Bullex, which is the 1 kg gold and 30 kg silver, are very liquid, the price is already discovered, and hence, this contract will have a very robust price discovery, the MCX Bullex options. Till date, we only had futures. Now we've brought in options, and I believe that this will provide investors, institutions, hedgers, another efficient tool to manage their price risk.
Rishi, also let's just understand, the benefits from hedgers' point of view. So how do you think Bullex Index benefits hedgers and investors, especially managing bullion price volatility? Now, what's the kind of strategy and the outlook that you think will benefit them?
See, today people may want to invest in gold or silver or both. Here you are getting a product where you can take an exposure to both gold and silver. Currently, the ratio is 60% gold and 40% silver in the index, and it gets rebalanced on 1st January every year. So you can take that exposure to both these commodities in a single contract. So you get that basket approach in that. So it's a simplified exposure to these commodities, and therefore managing risk within both the commodities becomes easier, whether it is for a hedger or an investor, and you can continue to take that exposure. And since these are options, and if you're buying these options, your upside is unlimited while your downside is capped to the extent of the premium paid. So it's a very efficient and robust product for people who want to, and given the heightened volatility in bullion, for people who want to take an exposure to bullion as a basket without having to take unlimited exposure. This is a very good tool for someone to come in with a measured risk.
Right, but Rishi, thank you so much for helping us understand this new offering in detail. But since there's so much of interest in the bullion markets right now, Rishi, in gold and silver, and so much so that you really as a company had to go ahead and raise the margins as well in the contracts. Help us understand what's the latest rationale on that particular front. Where's the thinking headed, given the fact that the prices have become very volatile internationally, but at the same time they have cooled off from their highs? At what point in time will MCX think of making some changes there? Any tweaks?
So margins are a function of volatility and perceived risk rather than prices going up or down. So whether price goes up or they've cooled down from top, as long as there is volatility in the markets, we will continue to monitor that and take necessary steps to protect the integrity of the markets and make sure the markets function in a orderly fashion. And that is why, as and when it is deemed fit to apply margins or increase margins, given the volatility, those steps are taken.
All right, Rishi, that will be all. Thank you so much for taking time out and talking to us and giving us all the information on this new thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
But let's move on. In other news, the Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways is hosting the India Maritime Week 2025 from 27 to 31st October. And the event, which brings together key stakeholders from across the maritime ecosystem, can get an investment boost of around 10 lakh crore rupees. Anurag Joshi is here with all the details. Anurag?
Several key speakers from both India and overseas are participating in this event, which will run through this entire week from October 27 to October 31. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the keynote address on October 29. And if we see today's deliberations, Shipping and Ports Minister Sarbananda Sonowal, the Minister of State Shantanu Thakur, and Chief Ministers of 4 states, Devendra Fadnavis of Maharashtra, Bhupendra Patel of Gujarat, Pramod Sawant of Goa, and Mohan Charan Majhi of Odisha will speak at the summit today. There will also be industry leaders and representatives from shipping companies and also port companies from India and globally. There are policy makers such as ministers from Sri Lanka and the Netherlands, which are going to participate in the sessions today. The annual event brings together policy makers, business leaders, representatives from the shipping and ports industry from India and across the world. And this is a good forum for them to brainstorm about the future of the shipping industry, which is in India, which is attracting a great deal of investments. And according to some forecasts, about 10 lakh crore worth of MOUs and commitments have already come in for investments into India.
All right, thank you so much for getting us all those details. We'll definitely watch out for more, but time now to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. As we come right back, we will start taking all your stock-related queries, so stay tuned and start writing to us. Welcome back to Buy Now, Sell Now show, where we get you answers for all your stock-related queries. And viewers, you can connect with us live on the WhatsApp number that will be flashing on the top of your screen throughout the show. Tell us the stock that you have invested in or you wish to invest in. Tell us your buy price as well as your time horizon for which you stay invested. And don't forget to mention your name and the place from where you are writing to us. So we'll try to take as many queries as possible. Some of the live callers will also get connected in short span of time. But with this, let's get started with all your stock-related queries. And let me welcome our experts for today. We are being joined by Gaurang Shah to guide us on the fundamental side, as well as Forum Cheda is also with us, and she'll guide us to that which stock to invest and which are the better opportunities. A very good morning to both of you, and let me start taking the queries then. And so many queries are already trickling in, and the first query is coming in from Vijesh Vishwanathan from Bangalore. He's holding 1,000 shares of Jamuna Auto at a price of 115 rupees. That's one of the auto ancillary names, but off late hasn't done much for itself. But Forum, firstly, let me have your take on Jamuna Autos. How do you see the stock on the technical front, given the fact that Vijesh is definitely having a loss in this counter, but he can still hold on for the next 1 year?
Well, hi, good morning to the team as well as viewers and Mr. Gaurang. Well, thank you very much for having me in the show. Well, to begin with, on Jamna Auto, as you made a mention, it's more on the auto ancillary side. And actually, if we see, the industry has been fairly doing better from the past couple of months. We might have seen a bit of a retracement in the past 1 month, but overall, when we see from a broader perspective, it looks good. So particularly this stock has had rather seen some kind of increased volumes in the end of August and beginning of September. And it's retraced very well. It's doing it absolutely right, very much technically doing in the right manner. Its support level is placed at a level of close to almost 90 levels, and thus any reach of price from those 90 levels would indicate further weakness. Meanwhile, it remains a good hold for a potential up move towards 104, 105, where we may have to consider reviewing the stock based on the volumes. But for now, it remains a good hold.
So it's a hold, and 105 is what Forum is looking at on the technical chart. But then let's move on. We are joined by our viewer on the phone line, Surendra Singh Chauhan from Udaipur. Hi, good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for sending us your question. Yes, our experts can hear you. What's the stock that you've bought or you want a recommendation on?
Actually, I'm having Tejas Network from last 4-5 years.
Okay.
And it gave me a good return, but now it's coming down regularly.
Sure. Okay.
So I would like to know whether it's worth holding this stock or get out at this price.
What's your buy price, sir?
It was, I'm sitting on at least 200% profit.
200% profit. All right.
200.
Got it. Yeah. So it's almost a long-term hold for you, and you are in profits.
Yes.
Gaurang, would you want to recommend something or just guide him through?
First of all, thank you so much for having me on the show, Kavita. Good morning to all the viewers of ET Now, to you, to Forum. 200% profit. And this profit was much better, Kavita, because the stock corrected after the announcement of second quarter numbers, if my memory serves me right. So we do have a positive coverage. Again, a small disclosure, Kavita, before I go any further, that all recommendations on this show are going to be a part of our research team recommendations. Our company, Geojit or I, we do not have any personal investments, no financial interest, no conflict of interest either. But we give recommendations to our clients on similar lines. They might hold their investment in this. So from a long-term point of view, we have a hold recommendation. If he's got 200% profit even now, after the stock corrected from 700 plus levels, Kavita, then I guess you can very well understand at what level this gentleman or investors got invested. So I mean, ups and downs are a part of the market. Stock sectors react to earnings, and if the earning is a little bit disappointing, like it was in the case of Tejas Network, the stock has to correct. But from a long-term point of view, I would advise him to stay invested purely because his investment is at a very low level. So, and of course, in terms of turnaround, we expect a turnaround in the third or the fourth quarter.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Tejas Networks. I hope this answers your query. But moving on to the next query then, and we have the SMS query from Rakesh Gupta from New Delhi. He's a senior citizen, has been holding 2 counters. He's holding 5 shares of Bosch Limited at a price of 2,600 and 26,480 rupees, I beg your pardon. And he's also having 400 shares of BPCL, bought at a price of 359 rupees. Gaurang, your views on both of these counters? How do you see both of these companies going ahead, and what could be the recommendation on stocks?
Well, firstly on Bosch, Shrishti, we have a book profit or sell recommendation because our target price is in place. And the fact that he got in at 26,000, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard you right, and the stock is somewhere trading close to about maybe about 38,000 plus kind of levels on Bosch. If he wants, he can book profits from Bosch because we have our targets in place. On BPCL, I think all the 3 oil marketing companies, HPCL, BPCL, IOC, we have a positive recommendation. And our understanding is that after this initial spike up in crude oil prices because of the restrictions or sanctions that has been put by America on Russian oil marketing giants like Rosneft, etc. This is a knee-jerk reaction. If you look at the India's oil basket, then we are very comfortable. And our understanding is that after this initial spike up, crude oil prices are likely to go down because OPEC Plus has also announced an increase in production. So if you're a long-term investor in BPCL, stay invested.
BPCL, that's the call to hold. Forum, this question is from Bharatwaj from Coimbatore, and he wants to know if he can buy Tata Capital at the current market price for a long term, almost 3 to 5 years time horizon. And if not this, then any other NBFC stock to buy at the current market price.
Well, on technical grounds, there is very limited data for me to comment. And in fact, the stock price today has already been like fairly doing well also. According to me, he can consider with the available data, or I would say as from since the time it's listed and whatever data I can suggest, look at, it is good to consider buying. Now, since he's looking for long term, I might not be in the right place to comment on it. But at the same time, at least technically, there are good levels to consider buying.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Tata Capital. Let's watch out for that counter, one of the recently listed stocks indeed. But moving on to the next counter, this one is on Star Health. And Gaurang, let me come to you for this one. Mohit from Ludhiana is already holding 200 shares of Star Health. Buy price is 590 rupees. His time horizon is for the next 3 years. What's your take here? Because we have seen that even post-listing, the stock has corrected significantly. Yes, of course, there were so many execution issues related to that. But now that the management has been trying to improve that, your thoughts on the company's performance and the likely stock reaction?
Srishti, along with all this, I think there was some data leak also of customers as far as Star Health is concerned, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and of course, there was a news item wherein cashless admission in certain hospitals for patients who had Star Health insurance was restricted or virtually not considered or entertained because of some dispute between the two, that is Star Health Insurance and of course some of the private run hospitals. I believe the management was able to address that and now things are back to normal. On earnings front, there was a disappointment, and that's one of the reasons why we've seen an underperformance from Star Health compared to the other health insurance related companies. So again, we from a long-term point of view, assuming that there will be a turnaround in earnings and a better situation for stakeholders, you can hold on to it if you're a long-term investor.
You can hold on to it if you're a long-term investor. Let's move on. And Forum, this question is on ABB India. And Okay, so Mr. Krishna Kumar is asking this question, and he's got 7 shares at around 6,000. He wants to know if he can hold or sell.
Well, he can currently look at holding on to the stock, and in fact, he can consider even maintaining a very strict stop loss below the levels of 4970. The reason being is that this year the stock price has been consistently taking support at almost at the levels of closer to, I would say, 4975. And that is the reason why I'm just giving it a little below that even if it turns a little weak, he can consider exiting. But at the moment, it remains a good hold. The stock price has been consolidating. An indicator like RSI is showing that there is some positive divergence, which means that we can expect some kind of an upside momentum. Thus, if he feels like that he would like to consider switching from the stock, then he can consider levels of around 5,750 to look at moving out of this and consider something else.
All right, that's the take coming in on ABB India. Let's watch out for that. But moving on to the next query. Forum, I'm once again coming to you because this query is from Neha from Bangalore, and she's seeking 1 to 2 months of strategy on 3 counters. She's holding Borosil Renewables, AU Small Finance Bank, one of the counters that saw great moves of late, and MTAR Tech is the third counter that she's holding, and she says that she's making almost 35% profit in these. What will be your advice 1 to next 2 months? Are you expecting that these should be able to give more returns to her, or would you advise to book profits?
One is I would just compliment her that she's been holding all 3 good stocks. They are very nice ones. So starting off with Borosil Renewables, now the stock price has been on the verge of just breaking out. So I would say it's more towards at the cusp of breaking out. So I would rather recommend to continue holding on to the stock, and she can look for much higher targets of 710 to even 720 to consider booking some profits. Now, I wouldn't suggest her to book full profits, but look at booking partial profits, at least from a 1 month time frame. Secondly, on AU Small Finance Bank, now overall the stock price has done extremely well or outperformed also the Nifty. I would rather suggest her to continue holding. Now, the stock price is likely to retrace towards the levels of 839 to 840, which doesn't indicate weakness, but it's just exactly what it's supposed to do to consolidate before resuming moving up higher. So if she feels like she doesn't want to consider watching the stock to that level, she can consider booking partial profits and hold on to it. Meanwhile, she can look for higher targets to consider booking partial profits further towards the levels of 880. And lastly is MDR Tech. It's extremely outperformed, or it's done extremely well in the past, I would say, 2 months. The stock price has moved from the level of 1360 towards 2,200 levels. That's an extremely good move there. I would rather suggest her to book partial profits there, but hold on to at least 50% of the quantity for higher targets. Meanwhile, she can maintain trailing stop loss below the levels of 2,100 and can look for higher targets of closer to almost 2,420 to book her balanced profits.
All right, so that's a strategy coming in Borosil, AU Bank, and MTAR Tech. But then it's time for a short break, and post that we'll be connecting with more viewers. Gaurang and Forum are there to do your live, answer your questions live. So just in case you want to send across any question, you can do that on the number that's flashing on the screen as well.
Welcome back, and it's the big news that is we are getting to understand on Vodafone Idea, as there was the Supreme Court hearing today, and we have the verdict as well coming in on that particular case. While there has been no relief on Vodafone Idea because Vodafone Idea's writ petition has been disposed by the Supreme Court. What exactly are they saying and highlighting on this particular matter? Let me take it across to Samir for more details on this one. Samir.
This was a very important hearing for Vodafone. They have appealed to the Supreme Court for the quashing of the additional AGR dues demand that has been raised by the Department of Telecom. But in the latest hearing, Supreme Court has disposed of the writ petition filed by Vodafone Idea, and this gives that there is no relief to the debt-ridden telecom player. In the hearing, Supreme Court has mentioned that the policy matter pertains to the center in the sense that the central government decides on the policy matter. And after going multiple hearings, it seems so that there is no reason to go beyond the decision, the policy decision taken by the central government. And taking that viewpoint, now the Supreme Court has disposed of the writ petition, and this brings that the problem for the telecom company Vodafone Idea is likely to increase in the coming days. Now, let me tell you that Telecom has raised an additional AGR dues amounting to rupees roughly around 9,500 crore for the financial year up to 2016-2017. And this was challenged by the Vodafone Idea in the fresh petition. They mentioned that this has to be quashed and the entire assessment of the additional AGR dues should be done once again. But after a couple of hearings, now the Supreme Court has disposed of the writ petition, upholding that the policy decisions government and it has to be abide by it. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Samir, for getting us all those details. But definitely, that's the big news that we are tracking on Vodafone Idea. The Supreme Court has quashed the petition, but for now, we are getting to see a bit of an up move on Vodafone Idea, though it's slipping from its day's highest point. And what we are getting to understand is that the Discom that raised additional AGR liabilities of over 9,500 crores for the year 2015 and 17, that has been taken into account, and Supreme Court does say that this is a matter pertaining to the central government. Centre has taken action on that and they will abide by that. There's nothing more that they can add at this point in time. After so many hearings when this particular case was deferred, we have seen final judgment coming in on Vodafone Idea. For now, that's the case that we are getting to understand on Vodafone Idea. The writ petition has been disposed of by the Supreme Court as we speak. The CGI does say that we clarify that the order is passed only in the peculiar facts and circumstances of the case, that the government infused equity and only in the interest of 20 crores of customers. So a negative and a setback news coming in on Vodafone Idea, but do remember that Vodafone AGR dues in total are over 80,000 crores, and for now this case was pertaining to the additional AGR dues and demands of 9,500 crores. So that was expected to give a bit of a relief if this outcome was seen to be on the positive side, but nevertheless that is what we are getting to hear on Vodafone Idea. The union government is willing to examine the issue. That was the Supreme Court order and verdict has given, but the investors are taking this particular news at a decent, to be a decent one for the company. Almost a 5% jump as we are getting to see on Vodafone Idea. Let's have a quick look what Indus Towers is doing as well, because that is one of the other related entities, and we get to see mixed reaction on that as well. And see the stock of Indus Towers as well, almost a 3.5% jump is what we are getting to see on Indus Towers. So maybe the markets are rejoicing the fact that now is there a clarity, because do remember for the past couple of months we have already seen that this particular case has been deferred for so many times, and now we have the verdict over here. I think we have Gaurang with us, and if we can quickly have a take from Gaurang on Vodafone's decision that has been taken. Gaurang, your thoughts now that the investors also have a clarity and the Supreme Court verdict?
You don't invest in companies on outcome of courts.
Yeah.
Srishti, to be very honest. You invest in companies on fallback of fundamentals. And I am of an opinion that if there is any company which is in the court of law, your antennas should be wide open in terms of what you are capable of understanding, what your wisdom is, and then what decision you take. I think if you ask me very honestly, there are better players to invest in when it comes to telecom service provider companies. So we have coverage on Bharti Airtel, we have coverage on Reliance Industries because of diversified business and also Geo Mobility. There is one more company, Shrishti, which is there. It's a very silent player. We don't have any coverage. I'm just mentioning since we are talking about the telecom sector. Two more companies. One of them we have a coverage, that is Tata Communication, and the second one is called Bharti Exaware. I think the IPO of Bharti Exaware was somewhere close to about 700 odd rupees. And it is, the stock is trading at about, I think, 1700 or 1650 or thereabouts, 1840. There it is on your screen. So these are the companies you invest in. Vodafone Idea, first of all, they are way behind in technology. Second is every month they are losing subscriber base, and it is benefit Bharti Airtel and Jio Mobility. And the third thing, which is very important to me, is the debt on the balance sheet. So there are a lot of question marks, And like I mentioned, you don't invest in any company fundamentally from a long-term point of view based on High Court or Supreme Court's outcome.
Right. All right. So, Forum, a quick take from you as well on the tech charts. Short-term pick in the same sector. What will be your recommendation with what kind of targets?
Well, as Gaurang did make a mention that even Bharti Hexacom is one of very interesting stock, in fact, and good volume. In fact, it's been as a very silent player. It's consolidating very well, but while the stock is consolidating, there has been very small quantities of accumulation that is seen, which overall, when we look at it from a broader perspective, is looking quite good. And in fact, those volumes do look attractive. So I think this stock is even looking good to buy at current levels with with maintaining a stop loss below the levels of around 1765. And it has the potential target of closer to almost 1916. Meanwhile, I was just checking on Indus Towers as well as you guys were discussing on it. According to me, it can have some resistance towards the levels of around 380 to 384. So one can keep a close eye and be a little careful at those levels.
This is the space where you're interested in. This tower is something that Forum is also recommending. But then time for a short break, and post that, let's continue with our viewers' queries on Buy Now, Sell Now.
Welcome back, and let's stick to the big story of today, and that is on Vodafone Idea. Though on the first take, you will see that the Supreme Court has actually quashed the demand for Vodafone Idea. There has been no relief from Supreme Court. But on the flip side, it's Supreme Court itself that they're saying that the centre can decide on its future by extending any support. That's indeed the most positive commentary coming in on Vodafone Idea, and hence the likely reaction on the stock price as well. Almost a 9% jump coming in on Vodafone Idea, a good reaction on Indus Towers as well. So the telecom space, one of the players of the telecom space, that is Vodafone Idea. So that is indeed a big news flow that we are tracking on this particular counter, wherein the Supreme Court says that the centre can decide on its future by extending any support. On the face of it, they have quashed the petition that was filed by Vodafone Idea. But we have our experts with us, so let's try to decode what does it really mean for Vodafone Idea going ahead, and what's the likelihood that the centre will can really lend some support to the company. We are being joined by Sanjay Asher as well as Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate of Supreme Court, joining us on the show. Very good morning, gentlemen. And Mr. Hegde, let me first come to you. On the face of it, the Supreme Court has quashed the petition. But they're saying, and they're keeping it open for the centre, that they can once again reconsider the order that they have given. What are your thoughts on that, and what's the likelihood that the centre's outcome could be favourable?
Well, what the Supreme Court has done is it has disposed of the petition. It is a petition on the basis of the statement made by the Solicitor General that, taking into consideration the change in circumstances that the government of India has acquired 49% equity and that there are nearly 20 crore customers utilizing the services, the government of India has stated that it is willing to examine the issues raised by the petitioner. The Supreme Court has only clarified that its earlier judgment does not stand in the way of the centre taking any policy decision that it wants. So essentially, this is a case where, though the petition has technically been disposed of, it is open to the centre, which is now a major investor in the company, to take its own decisions afresh. So it might waive off the AGR or constitute some other package so that there is relief to the company. And all in all, it's a big win as far as those who are invested in Vodafone is concerned.
All right, Mr. Ashar, let's just understand this also, because now the ball is definitely in the government's court. But then what kind of shape you think this will be taking going ahead with the Supreme Court saying that the government is free to decide the AGR dues as well? So how do you think these proceedings will be taken ahead?
There would be a policy decision
Sure.
in relation to the AGR dues, keeping in mind that there are 20 crore plus customers using Vodafone Idea mobile services. And having regard to the facts and circumstances, the government would form a policy as to what has to be done as far as the AGR dues are concerned. And as the government is ready and willing to consider some relief, so to my mind, yes, there would be a policy decision which would be taken by the Department of Telecommunications. Two, there would be some element of relief, I would think, which would be given for the AGR. Three, it would not only apply to Vodafone Idea, but it would apply to all the telecom operators, since it would be a policy and it can't apply only to one particular operator. And four, let's see as to what the policy decision is. And in my view, depending on what the policy decision is, and keeping in mind the facts and circumstances and the interest of 20 crore plus customers, maybe there could be another round of litigation basis, whatever is the decision of the government on the policy.
Interesting points over there, but yes, the government has definitely made it clear time and again that they don't want the duopoly, and that's why they have gone ahead and invested in such a substantial manner in Vodafone Idea. And in order to protect those customers, a step could be taken on that front. But Mr. Hegre, coming to you, if you can help us understand how this whole process will be taken in the times ahead. Any timeline that comes to your mind that will be there in terms of the resolution, and along with that, this AGR due and the petition that has been disposed today related to an amount of close to 9,500 crores. But for Vodafone Idea, if we look at the total AGR dues, that's over 80,000 crores. Do you believe that since the government is a majority shareholder over there, there could be some relief on over and above the amount of 9,500 crores?
Well, whatever are the dues, the question is, how does the government recover them, or does it want to recover them? Because in a sense, when it is a major investor, 49% investor in the company, it is actually taking it out from the pocket of the company and putting it into the pocket of the government. But it's from one pocket, almost one pocket that it half owns, to another pocket that is fully owned. But you cannot bring down the company, or it would not be in anybody's interest to bring down the company. So what concessions to give and what relief to give will be a matter of policy. The policy may not be specific to this company alone. It may be in general terms. You know, my mind goes back to the Arun Shourie years in the telecom industry, in the telecom ministry, which revolutionized the telecom industry. In those days, there were heavy license fees which were due and payable. He moved it to a revenue sharing method, as a consequence of which the sector as a whole came up. So similarly, here there are some legacy issues with regard to AGR. If there are improvements or tweaks in the policy, which would possibly benefit not only Vodafone but the others, I don't think anybody should have an objection. As far as the timeline is concerned, that is anybody's guess, because after all, the entire process would have to be gone through, and if there is a policy change, maybe the TRAI's recommendations would also have to be sought. Given the commercials of the matter, I expect further litigation.
All right. So this is very important statement, you know. In fact, when you talk about policy tweaks, Mr. Hegre, could you please elaborate on that for the benefit of the investors, the shareholders, and also how do you think this message is expected to relay for other telecom operators as well?
But everybody had AGR dues. Now, if the AGR dues cannot be pared down only for one company just because the government happens to be a major shareholder. It may well have to be tweaked. Maybe some companies will have a lesser easing of the burden. Some may have a greater easing of the burden. But that the details of the policy making and the steps, I do not think I should speculate on without reading the entire fine print of not only the judgment but of previous precedents in the matter.
We totally respect that. But Mr. Asher and Mr. Hegre, thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us and helping us understand what you really make out of this particular announcement. So big news coming in on Vodafone Idea. On the face of it, it's the petition that has been disposed, but the centre is likely to take the call going ahead. And Kavita ji, look at the move in the stock price as well. Almost 8.5% jump is what they get to see. But with this, viewers, it's time to wrap this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. It's a goodbye from me and Kavita and the entire team. Thank you so much for tuning in.